And we're back. We're in week 4, session 8. Congratulations, you made it to the halfway point. As I've mentioned a couple of times before, this is typically a 16-week course, but we're doing it in 8 weeks, and that takes a special kind of individual. And by and large, everyone in this course is really keeping up, in some cases working ahead, and I want to compliment you on that. I think it's been fantastic. In a 16-week course, sometimes students tend to put things off, thinking they can always get caught up later on, and it's frustrating for me and for them. But by and large, this group is right on track. So let's take a look at session 8 at our halfway point. I don't think there was any reading in session 7. There is reading in session 8, and of course both of them have to be done in the same week, but there's a little less writing this time. So we'll jump into the session 8 folder and see what's there. This is in preparation for writing project 3, and although you don't have to do a draft this time, what you are doing is putting together a bibliography first, finding your sources. So when we get to week 5, next week, you're prepared to write because you've already selected both the subject and the sources you're going to use to write the informative essay. And I want to emphasize again, I know I mentioned this on the last video, in the informative essay, it is devoid of your own personal opinion. And you also need to pay particular attention regarding the group that you are writing for. You have to do it with the audience in mind. And so when you do the situational analysis, on the last writing project 2, on your situational analysis, most of you would say, I am writing this for Mark and the other people in the class. You're not going to do that this time. This time you're going to say, my intended audience is, and then name them. And it's not me, and it's not the other people in the class. It's the hypothetical or real group that you're writing for. So we have 3 chapters to read this time. Chapter 21, Chapter 22, and Chapter 26. And there's also a quiz, short quiz in this one on grammar. You're really going to want to pay attention to this, and we'll look at it together here in just a minute, sample bibliographies. And there are 3 supplemental resources. Again, as I've mentioned many other times before, if you're good on these, skip this part. It probably wouldn't hurt to at least open them up and poke around a little bit, even if you think you're good. But if you need help in these areas, I'll show you where they are. We are going to finish up the discussion board that we started last time. Every picture tells a story. You have to enter 2 responses, and we'll talk about that more. There is a short quiz on pronoun errors, and then writing the annotated bibliography. Not starting work on essay number 3 yet, just the bibliography. So here are the learning activities. And your textbooks, of course. I'm not going to open that up. Here's the supplemental, or excuse me, the sample bibliographies. If you follow the model here, you're going to be good. And there it goes. Okay, I think this one's probably a little wordy. You may not have to do as much writing as this sample shows for the rationale. But in the rationale, the first thing you're going to want to do, spell out what it is you intend to write about for your informative essay. As this one mentions, it's talking about the causes and the best practices in fighting homelessness. Okay, good. And then it mentions, secondly, what core reading they're basing this on. As I said, this one's probably a little wordy, but more important even than this introductory paragraph are the questions. The questions that you intend to find answers for. And you're going to base all the answers to your questions on the things you use as source material. And then you're going to put in a list of annotations. This is the same citation format you would use if you were including this as a source in your essay. But in addition to that, tell me a little bit about that person. It shows me you didn't just find a source, but you actually read through it. Who is the writer? Where did it appear? A summary. It doesn't necessarily have to be as long as this one. A sentence or two tops is fine. Actually, this one is 2 sentences, but they're rather long. What stance is the writer taking, and how are you going to use it? And if you happen to be using any of these sources, because these are based on articles that are in the resources folder right now, you could kind of model it on them. I know many people have written things based on internet addiction left my brother homeless. Well, if you're planning on using it, here's a model to go off of. And here we have the list of supplemental resources. I'm not going to open these and go through them. Evaluating sources, that is a good one. Practice grammar activity. There is a grammar quiz. Probably ought to try this one. At least it'll give you an idea of what the quiz is going to look like before you take it. And then links to Purdue OWL, which we've talked about before. Let's get to the next folder. Assignments and assessments. Okay, so in session 7, you entered your contribution to the discussion board. Every picture tells a story, where you pick 3 images that address a possible Writing Project 3 subject and what they meant to you and what they showed. So simply in session 8, you're going to respond to at least 2 of the posts from 2 other students. Write 100 words each. Did you like them? Did you think they were effective? What didn't you like? So 200 words total. Reply to 2. Here is the grammar quiz. I won't open that either. I know you will. And the annotated bibliography. And these are the instructions for submitting it. It's worth 40 points, which is not a ton. But just because it doesn't have a lot of point value associated with this, take this one seriously, because the next writing project you do, Writing Project 3, is going to be based in large part on the sources that you're finding now. And you turn that in as an attachment. I'm having a thunderstorm right now. I don't know if you can hear it booming in the background. So let's take one more look at this class session. We might have gone over everything, but I'd like to be sure. So 3 chapters to read. Make sure you look at the sample student annotated bibliography. It's a model, it's a roadmap for you to follow. The supplemental resources, if you think you need them. We'll finish out the discussion board, take the simple quiz, work on your annotated bibliography for Writing Project 3. When we get to next week, which is session 9 and 10, we're going to start writing our 3rd writing project. That's it, everybody. Have a great week. Reach out to me if you need me. 812-498-4200 is my text number, phone number 800-416-1747, and my email address, mstenger and the number 1 at ivytech.edu. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon.